Marvel President Kevin Feige's plans for recasting almost all characters in the X-Men franchise might bring a problem for Magneto's timeline. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. That's the universal story of mutants, and that is where we're going. What Feige meant by those words is that almost all of the OG characters from the X-Men franchise will be recast and will portray younger versions compared to the OG movies. This brings us to a very crucial problem, one involving Ian McKellen's Magneto and his backstory. Marvel President Kevin Feige has made some big announcements and insights regarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From recasting almost all of the X-Men characters as younger versions to talking about Jonathan Majors' casting as Kong, Feige gave earnest answers. In an interview with Variety, the Marvel president talked about the future of the MCU and how they plan to introduce the X-Men to this already well-established universe. They have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel different and who feel other and who feel like they don't belong. He concluded, "Watching the brutality and the pain, Ian McKellen's Magneto developed a hatred for humans and what they were capable of. Since the Holocaust happened between 1933 to 1945, Magneto needs to be an old guy in modern times, given that he is allegedly immortal. Unlike most of the characters, Magneto has a serious problem with the human race. His hatred stems from his troubled childhood since he was a Jew who was in a concentration camp during World War II. In the same interview with Variety, Feige stated that Avengers: Secret Wars will serve as a soft reboot within the MCU. Well, with that soft reboot and the reintroduction of the X-Men, Kevin Feige may have a chance to tweak the origin story of Magneto just a little bit to fit the narrative better. If Feige wishes to cast a young Magneto, they would have to set the entirety of the movie in an earlier timeline, which they did with movies like X-Men, Days of Future Past and X-Men, First Class. However, that certainly won't be an option since Feige wishes to bring them to the modern-day MCU, if he wants to crossover. Well, Feige's comments about a younger cast for the X-Men movies bring a challenge about Magneto's character. However, we may have a solution to this problem. Well, Kevin Feige's MCU could potentially do something similar with Magneto by showing his backstory at the concentration camps first. With a child Magneto showcasing his powers accidentally, the Nazis can potentially put him in suspended animation till he finally manages to break out. We all have seen Captain America, the first Avenger, right? Steve Rogers went down under the ice and was kept alive by the frozen ice for several decades. When he emerged, Steve Rogers was still in his youth and still a super soldier. This could set up the storyline perfectly and manage the timeline without changing Magneto's hatred for humanity and backstory too much. Although Feige might have thought of other scenarios, we think that this could potentially be a way out of the timeline mess. What do you think about Kevin Feige's decision to recast almost every actor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Kevin Feige reveals how Gareth Edwards, the creator, inspired Marvel's new cost-cutting strategy after recent failures and production struggles. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. When the creator hit theaters in 2023, it wasn't just sci-fi fans paying attention. Turns out, even Marvel Studios was watching closely. Directed by Gareth Edwards, the same guy behind Rogue One and Jurassic World Rebirth, the film didn't break the box office or win over critics. But behind the scenes, it pulled off something magical, something that Marvel desperately needed. Kevin Feige, the mastermind behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is taking notes from unexpected places. He came across director Gareth Edwards, the creator, a movie that may not have pleased everyone with its storytelling, but it certainly turned heads with its jaw-dropping visuals and surprisingly lean budget. So now, despite being a divisive film, the creator impressed Hollywood insiders, including Kevin Feige, not with its box office, but with how much it accomplished for so little. Marvel Studios, which has faced criticism in recent years for its massive budgets and overloaded VFX, thus took notice. So much so that Kevin Feige and his team reportedly met with the creator's behind-the-scenes crew to better understand how the film delivered cinematic spectacle without breaking the bank. And now, Marvel is approaching its future by being smarter and more budget-conscious than ever. While some criticize the sci-fi movie for its storyline, pacing, and borrowing too much from older sci-fi classics, others praised it for its stunning visuals, creativity, and atmosphere. And in an age where Marvel was getting criticized for bloated CGI and overexpensive spectacles, this was the kind of inspiration the studio needed. So, Kevin Feige didn't just admire it from afar, he acted. The creator became a masterclass in doing more with less. The 2023 film delivered blockbuster-level visuals on a surprisingly tight budget. And according to Kevin Feige's discussion with Deadline, that was the kind of creative efficiency that made him sit up and take notes. Shot in Thailand with a minimal crew and relatively low budget, Gareth Edwards cooked and left Feige stunned after learning from Gareth Edwards. Kevin Feige isn't pretending everything's been perfect. During his interview, he surprisingly admitted what many fans have been whispering: Marvel lost its way. After Avengers: Endgame, the studio expanded rapidly, introducing more shows, characters, and content than audiences could keep up with. The Marvel boss and his team reportedly sat down with the creator's production crew to learn how they managed to create something so polished without breaking the bank. This wasn't just curiosity, it was strategic. Marvel needed a new production plan after years of massive spending, inconsistent VFX quality, and the added costs of pandemic-era filming. Feige explained, "The movies made over the last 2 years have been upwards of a third cheaper than they were 2 years before that, i.e., Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America, Thunderbolts***, and Fantastic Four are all significantly cheaper than films from 2022 and 2023, and they would have been even cheaper if it wasn't for the strikes." Now, Marvel's playbook is changing. With Gareth Edwards' efficient filmmaking style as a model, the studio is dialing things down to a smarter level. The era of big budgets for every project is coming to an end. Now, his new game plan includes everything he has learned so far. Don't fear experimentation, stay creative, but keep the budget low. By admitting where things went wrong and embracing new techniques, Kevin Feige is hinting that maybe Marvel's revival is possible, after all. Let us know in the comments what you think of Marvel Studios' future with this revamped strategy. So now, Kevin Feige admits that this overexpansion, although done with good intentions, ended up causing all the problems. Feige pointed to recent flops like Captain America: Brave New World, saying it struggled simply because fans missed Chris Evans. Meanwhile, Thunderbolts** introduced characters most audiences hadn't seen unless they watched several Disney Plus shows. Thunderbolts** was a very good movie, but nobody knew that title, and many of those characters were from shows. There was that residual effect of audiences going, "I guess I had to have seen these other shows to understand who this is?" But here's the thing, instead of sulking, Kevin Feige owned his mistakes and is now shifting gears. Claiming to be proud of the risks he took, even if they didn't work out well, Feige admitted that he'll keep on experimenting to help the studio evolve. And this time, learning from the creator and acknowledging his recent missteps, Feige is crafting a comeback strategy that could actually work. Spider-Man: Brand New Day teaser confirms Kevin Feige is finally doing justice to the web crawler in the MCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Spider-Man: Brand New Day